Hi folks, welcome to Blackbeard's Detailing YouTube channel. I'm Ross and tomorrow you'll meet Josh. Working on this BMW Z4. It's in with us for full coverage PPF protection. It is 9:15 at night on a Sunday. You might be asking why the hell are you up at this time on a Sunday night? And the reason being is, got all the PPF cut on the plotter and the cuts software has messed up not once, not twice, but 3 times. It's been an absolute, utter headache. The PPF, we're doing so much more of it. I'm getting so much better, less wastage, to the point in which I just order in the amount of material which I need for the car, because it's very rare now that I'm messing up something on it and we need to pull it off and replace it. Wouldn't be so much of an issue with it being gloss, because we always keep a bank of gloss there in case a customer needs a repair job done. Somebody drops in for a coating and decides they want their headlights or a boot strip or something like that protected, so we've always got plenty of gloss in. But the matte material, A, it costs substantially more than the gloss, so we don't hold a lot of it in stock. B, it's also not as popular as the gloss, so again, we just don't hold it in. So the cuts software, first time we cut with it, for some crazy weird reason, the scale was tiny. So for talking sake, it started printing off, started cutting the door, and the door was tiny. The door was about that size, and it managed to do it on pretty much all the panels, all the way along. Now, I was on my phone at the time, so if I'd been keeping an eye on it, I probably could have hit the stop. So at that stage, we've messed up a big portion of material, because again, the material's all placed on what we call a nesting board, and it's plotted within that kind of 6 metre span of material I've bought. That 6 metres of material does not include the bonnet. The bonnet is massive in this, it's really wide, so it needs a 1.8 metre material, which doesn't get put through the plotter. There's a minimum order of that of 5 metres, so I've bought 5 metres of it, obviously. I'm only going to need 2.5 for the bonnet, so I've got 2.5 metres of material there to play with. Second time, I had a look at the software, try to figure out what the problem was. Certainly it's not an issue with the plotter. The plotter only cuts what it's been sent. It doesn't have a mind of its own, it doesn't have any internal software whatsoever. It just gets sent a file and cuts it, so it's not the plotter. I then decided I would then do a complete new nesting board. So done everything straight from scratch, got it all basically set up, everything all sorted, everything exactly the same thing I've done dozens of times now for PPF. Plugged it back into the plotter, sent it through the laptop. It then started doing it again, but this time I just hit stop on the plotter, so it stopped what it was doing. So it rolled forward before it started doing the initial cut, maybe 20 centimetres, and then started cutting into it, and then again caused an issue. So at that point, I then done a complete hard install of the software, uninstalled cuts, reinstalled it. It was a pain in the backside. Got that done, got everything all sorted. Again, done a complete new, fresh PPF plot nest. Got it through into the plotter, clicked plot, and it started. You can see that it likes to roll out a few sections, and then when it starts moving, you see the blade running up, and I'm like, perfect, it's doing what it needs to do. Yes, there's a couple of sections that will need bulk fitted with the extra material, but so be it, that's all right. But again, that's a bit of a pain in the backside, because the material for that bonnet, just the bonnet, was about 500 quid. Obviously that will be halved, so I would keep that material and then use that for something else. The customer didn't pay that 500 quid, they paid their portion of what that bonnet is. But that's just, I'll just absorb the cost of that, that just is what it is. So I'm like, ideal, we've got that extra stuff there that I can use to bulk fit. So As I'm watching the plotter, it's getting to the kind of mid-section of the cut, and keep an eye on it, and you can see it's running very close, like very close to the cuts. So I'll grab a wee section so you can kind of roughly see. So the plotter cuts out the sections in shape. So that is this section that goes in there. That is the number plate section for the back bumper. So it cuts all the shapes out, and as it's doing it, you can set the parameters to how far apart you want the cuts to be. It's just set to a standard 4mm, but I can adjust it. The sections all show red if anything's overlapping. Nothing was showing red. On the cut software as well, I've had it before. You click it, maybe you've moved the mouse just before you've clicked plot, something touches and it lets you know that something's outside what they call the cut board, or items are touching. It gives you a warning essentially. There was no warning. As I'm weeding everything, which you've seen on previous vlogs, I'm looking at the material and I'm going, this is all cut through each other, the centre sections. So the long story short is, there's probably in the region about probably between 400 and 600 quid of material that's been wasted. So that should be the rear quarter on the driver's side, and that should be a big straight cut that runs from up there and it runs all the way down, a nice flowing cut down there. But it decided it wanted to cut in to that section, which was the kind of rear of the tailgate, which is this section. So yeah, so there's, and it's slap bang in the middle of the film. It's a section that's got lots of bits through it. Afterwards, I looked again at the screen, everything's all separated, nothing's touching. So if there's kids watching, cover their wee ears now. I never swear in the vlogs, but I'm properly f***ed off with this, because it has an impact on cost, it has an impact on the time now, because I'm now up here, it's now gone just approaching on 9:25, and I need to now figure out which of this material I can use, because it's basically had an impact on everything. Like this, one of the sections on the other side, so that bit there, now that could probably still get used. There is a tiny portion of it on there, so there's about 5mm which is taken off that. Now over that length, that's fine to heat up with the steamer and just do a wee stretch over. That's no issue. 9 times out of 10, when you're fitting big sections anyway, the templated bits don't fit perfectly. They need stretched over so you don't get any fingers and stuff like that. Bits like that are all completely fine, but like big bits, like the back boot cover on it, it's a big huge bit of material, and there's a chunk which is taken out the side of it, which is, again, I'm very aware that it's now 10 minutes into this vlog and all I've done is moan, so apologies, but I'm in a moany mood. So this section along here has cut perfectly fine, so all this is all good, and the actual the pattern itself runs along the top end of there, but on this side it's cut into something which is leaving me about 2.5 inches on there. So I'm going to need to get it tacked down on this, het up, and then pulled and stretched. So that's why I'm in, because I need to know A, if that's fine, I can get that stretch on, because if I can't, then I need to order more material in. I need to do it tomorrow morning, and I won't have time to test all this and get it all done, get it all thingied and get the material and that all ordered, and also get onto cuts and find out what the hell's happened, because I had similar issues with when I was using Suntech film with their plotting software, which is called Core, and it decided to cut a Porsche front end overlapped 3 times. So say for instance it was this section, it would cut that section out and then shift it like half a mil or a mil, and then cut it again, and then shift it another mil, and then cut it again. So I was left with bits that were all, and again that was a full front end on the Porsche. So granted, it wasn't a huge amount of material on it, but it was still 500, 600 quid of material. And they just washed their hands and turned around and went, no, it wasn't anything that our software's done, but the plotter will only cut what the software tells it to cut. So yeah, I am annoyed. I will speak to Core and I'll update you on it. Sorry, not Core, I will speak to Cuts and I will update you on it and find out what they say if any of you are interested. So anyway, on to this BMW. It was previously quoted by us when it was new. It's a 2021. It was coated with Gtechniq C1 Crystal Lacquer. So all the prep work's been done. It's been washed, tar removal. It has had iron fallout. It's also had a rather harsh and strong alkaline wash on it. It's had water spot remover all over it, and it has been dried. The bodywork condition is good. There's a couple of scratches which we obviously know we can't do anything with the matte, but prior to it coming in, we got a couple of bits of PPF and put it on the car for the customer. So that is basically the finish. So that's a bit that we previously PPF'd, so the customer could see, and that is the standard finish. So there's quite a difference on there. That is not STEK material, that is just offcuts that we had of matte, and that is the standard. So you can see there's quite a difference there. So we tested that for a couple of reasons. One, to make sure that obviously prepped it and made sure that the PPF was going to stick to it and it wasn't going to come off. This has been on now for about 2.5 months and it's rock solid on there. So I don't have any concerns at all about applying the PPF over the previously coated car. It is pretty much approaching on the end of the coating's life. It's also been, again, doused in rather aggressive chemicals, safely, may I add. Nothing was allowed to dry on it. The chemicals were allowed to do their thing, essentially destroy the coating and get the car back to just clean, bare lacquer, so the PPF will stick to it. So game plan tonight is I'm going to get a couple of sections done on this, see how much of this film I can rescue, and then if not, work out how much extra I need to order in, and then get that ordered in, and then it'll just be, the entire thing will then just be bulk fitted, because I am not trusting Cuts until they tell me what the issue is. If they turn around and say, really sorry, there's been an issue on our end, it's the servers, fantastic, great, I know that there's no issue then with putting more material through, and I'm not then just burning money. So that's the last thing I'll say about it until I get an update. But yeah, anyway, thank you for letting me bend your ear for the last 15 minutes. It's not how I like to start vlogs with being moany. But anyway, I'm going to get cracked on this and see how we do. Right, so one thing I must stress when doing this, because you think, why on earth? If there's any change in how the film looks as it's getting stretched. It shouldn't be. It's fantastic film. STEK is right up there when it comes to PPF. It will take a stretch, as I don't want any change in the effect. If there's anything at all, any inkling that there's going to be anything wrong with it, it will just get whipped off and replaced. So I just want to stress that straight for the outset, in case people are going, well, why are you installing that if it's not right? If it's not right, it won't stay on the car, basically. I'm just looking to see how much I can get the film to stretch over the panel in the sections which the plotter's cut into. So yeah, don't worry in that aspect. I'm not going to put it on if it A, doesn't look right, B, it won't protect the car. So yeah, anyway, film's all there. That's all been panel wiped. Steamer's good to go. The slip solution is all filled. So I'm going to get that onto the board and then get it put onto the car and see how it behaves. So roasty, toasty, hot water is on the go. Only downside to being up here this late is normally I would be, if I was polishing or coating, I would just be fueling up on coffee. But if I'm cutting, my hands need to be nice and steady, so I don't want the caffeine jitters. So it might be a long, tiring night. So if all goes to plan, get a section on, I'll do the A-pillars, which are all gloss, mirrors, which are gloss, and then get it lifted and start making my way around. Not going to tackle the bonnet tonight, sorry I'm aware you can't see my head there. Not going to tackle the bonnet tonight because that is a two-man job getting that on. So let's go. So mega slippy solution on this. So there's no glue lines or anything as I give it a hefty stretch. And just off camera there, I am putting just some of the slip solution onto the big board on the wall for sleeving this. So get that on. Give that a wee squish to get rid of any dust. And then get this onto the car and see how this looks. This big board is phenomenal. It's such an easy way of being able to work up here alone. So yeah, it's annoying because I was really looking forward to doing this car. I'm enjoying doing PPF. It's a new challenge and it's good fun, to be honest. I genuinely am really enjoying it. I even went and treated myself to a whole bunch of new squeegees. And been looking forward to trying them out, so we shall get this up and I'll bring the camera over because it'll be easy to see it now it's actually on the car, the issues that you have. So I'll bring the camera down, you can see, so that is where we have the issues. So the plotter has cut a nip in that one is actually all right, because the whole template is tucked, so it's got additional film. So I'm hoping once I get this all het up and stretched around, I can get it pretty much bang on to where I want it to be. And another thing is that, because I don't often because there very rarely is actual issues and problems, it's good to actually see things don't always go to plan. And when they don't, we just need to suck it up, deal with it, and sort out any problems there are. So I'm going to get that het up, and then a right good stretch, and that should it's amazing once it's actually on. Again, there was a car, again, apologies, I know I'm talking and I'm not facing the camera. That's kind of alien to me. I normally like looking at the camera when I'm talking to you, but the there's actual lip right behind that anyway, so that isn't going to tuck. So that's actually good news. But I can get this side bit tucked. Yeah, as I was saying there, I normally like kind of talking to the camera, but you'll just need to deal with me not talking to the camera. So I'll get this section firmly down, and then I know that this isn't going to shift, and then I'll lift. I'll put plenty slip solution under there. I'll use hot water, which is fresh out the kettle, and cover this, which will get the film nice and soft, nice and supple, and then give it a gentle stretch starting from there, and stretch the full way along, which should get rid of this section and this big cut-out notch here, hopefully. So let's see if this works. So loads of slip under there. And get all that mobile, so the slip's doing its job. It doesn't start to dry, and it will let me manipulate and move the film and not leave any horrible marks. Right here, the rain battering down on the top of the roof. So this is pretty much boiling water. It's been sat in this for maybe 5 minutes at the most. So we'll soak this and get it nice and supple, and then get that stretch. The good thing as well is the unit's roasting hot. As much as it's February in Scotland, we've got these big massive IR heaters in here. So right, so there we go. Get this stretched up and along. And then I'll just leave this I'll just set my hand here just for a wee minute and just let that take a wee grip. And then as I lift that should all stay where I want it to be, which it is, which is awesome and exactly what I'm wanting. So next up, we're looking to get this stretched to the end of the spoiler. Again, it's plain bolt. Try and pull that round the spoiler a wee touch. Yeah, that's exactly what we are wanting. So we'll get this wee section locked in. Get rid of some of that slip from under there. And then same this it. Hold this up. And try and get it over the spoiler. That needs to come off again. There we go, that's sitting perfect. So we shall get this big air bubble moved along. Get a bit of fluff into that. Switch to my soft squeegee. And there we go. The big thing that I always say, I've always done, even the coatings, all the detailing, everything, is if this was my car, would I be happy with it? And that is an absolute yes. That's where, so this pattern goes to the end there. So with that basically boiling water, it's freed up that film. It's made it much more pliable, malleable. So yeah, that's I am happy with that. It's right up to that lip, up to the middle point there. So it'll do the same on this section. So slip underneath, just to get it all mobile. And again, what we're normally wanting to do is make sure if we're stretching something, we've got material to pull on, but because of obviously lack of material on there, you want to do it from the top and drag it, and then just hold it without getting your fingerprints on the underside of it, so you don't get any marks on the underside of the film. And again, that's sitting nicely. So if we pull that along and then that up, and then that's that locked in. Section there is just slip. That's all good. So I'll continue down there, getting this bit all locked in place. And then the last wee section I need to do is just this bit here. So a wee dod more slip under there. Just so it's nice and mobile. And then a bit of heat on that, and then stretch that upwards, and that'll get rid of that bit that was cutting at the top. We'll use the kind of boiling water this time. It's still plenty hot. A bit of slip just to lube it, and then push it up. There we go, that's it. Just hold it there for a wee second. Let the film just relax into its position. This is when you want to be an octopus and have multiple hands. And there we go. Okay, a bit more stressful than what I would want, because I want to just be able to get film on, get it in place, trim it, and then move on to the next bit. It's like a game of 3D chess where you're fighting with a bit of film. But that is on, and it passes the "if it was my car would I be happy" test. It also kind of demonstrates just how much stretch you can put on the PPF. Granted, that's over a nice big section, so the stretch going along that way starts from about there. So you've got a good metre of stretch, which is taking maybe that, taking into account that 2 inch at the back, and then there's, don't know, maybe half a metre that way, 50 centimetres, which is then able to take the stretch up there to there, and it goes just beyond where the spoiler stops. So the time I hand trim that, then that is all good. So that's one less thing to be stressed about. This has back section on, edges all drying out. I managed to get the side bits tucked. The underside, kind of underneath these bits, are really quite rough. So the PPF is struggling to stick on it. It's just the nature of matte paint, so the underside sections sometimes get it with cars that have been resprayed as well. Under the panels aren't quite smooth, so the PPF doesn't really want to stick to it, but I'll leave them drying out overnight and see if we can get them tucked with some heat, because I would rather get them tucked. It looks a lot neater. So onto a contrasting bit, one of the bits that has cut with no issues. So again, nice small section, so it's kind of apples and oranges. It's an entirely different kettle of fish, maybe kind of small bit, but this just gives you an idea of how nice and easy and simple it should be when everything goes to plan and the plotter does what it's meant to do. So give it a wipe over with an ISO mixture, isopropyl alcohol, just to make sure that the panel, there's no grease, nothing like that on it. Gives it its final wipe over just to make sure as well that there's no dust and stuff, and then afterwards we give it a right good hit with a slip solution. That again, make sure, so you can see that running down, so if there's any specks of dust it'll run down, but we'll give it a wee squeegee anyway, just to make sure. And a final scoosh. So this is our section here, so spray the front of it just to get rid of any dust. I won't do this bit over at the wall because it's tiny, so peel the backing sheet off and then get that lined up. So we have points we want to get it lined up to. I'll grab the camera in a wee second and I'll show you. So that looks pretty much spot on. Well, when I say pretty much, that is spot on. We'll get a nice even line down that side. So I'll grab the camera quickly and flip it round to the other view. So that shows what it's, so we've got a wee crescent moon that you can see just in there. So that goes right in that corner. There's a wee half moon just there. We want that right on that leading edge, and then it's nice, even line, the full way down there. And then at the bottom section, the wee crescent moon again is bang on there, and then we've got a nice even amount of material that's running up that side. If we're able to, we will get it tucked. Again, depends how the metalwork is behind it. This template isn't specifically for, well, it is for this car, but it isn't specifically for a matte car. So again, as I says, the back sections, the matte, it tends to not be anywhere near as smooth as a gloss car would be. So what we want to do is tack on this section here and that wee bit in there at the corner. So I'll grab a couple of different squeegees. I'm excited because I can use my new wee squeegees. So I've got, again, this is, I'm really quite looking forward to doing this. I treated myself and spent like over 100 quid in squeegees. So we've got like a wee tiny thin one, which would be fantastic for doing in like U-bits. And then this one, which is like a hook, which perfect for getting into these wee nookie corners. So I might actually use the hook one to get into there, and another one. And the great thing is these are nice and soft, and they're also magnetic. So aluminium. So it ain't wanting to stick. That one's sticking onto the steel on there. Oh, how lucky is that? It landed on the backing sheet. So, nice new squeegees. So we'll get this corner on. So that is spot on, and then we'll use the wee fancy hook one and get into that corner. Oh, that's fantastic. This is my new favourite squeegee. And then we're wanting to make sure that we carry that slip solution away from the section we've already squeegeed. So we'll get that bit squeegeed to there, that bit squeegeed to there, so that can just go straight down. And there we go, that's that top section all locked in. Move on down to the bottom, make sure that is still in line, which it is, it's spot on. And this time we'll switch to a different squeegee. And again, squeegeeing away from bits which I have already squeegeed. We will carry that down, and that is spot on. Perfect fit. All the corner points bang on, exactly as it should be. So yeah, I just showed you how simple and easy it is when the actual template is working as it should do. I'll show you the next one, which is on the other side, which is the bit that's got the wee centimetre missing from there. So we'll be back on with the steamer, and we'll give that section a wee stretch out to make sure it's fully covered. Okay, so this wee segment here is quite lengthy. I'm going to do the full process with this. So clean over with the isopropyl mix into all the edges. And obviously the car was fully deconned outside. There was no footage of that. It was absolutely howling down with rain, and the wee DJI Osmo camera thing is not waterproof in any way whatsoever. I actually need to dig out the GoPro and get a couple of batteries for it, because the batteries have died. So you can hear that that sound, that's not what you want. You don't want to hear that kind of rough sound. You want to hear that. So try and get that. So that nice and smooth, that really rough. So the PPF struggles to stick to it. Again, if it was a gloss car, it wouldn't be any issue. We'd be able to tuck around, no bother once it was cleaned. But that's, yeah, so a bit of a difference here. So similar to the other side, we'll give it a wee douse first, just to get rid of any chance of dust, debris, anything on the panel. And then always nice and gentle when you're rubbing onto these sections. Yes, it's a soft squeegee, but it can still scratch. Again, I'm conscious I'm going to be in front of this camera as I'm working, but that can't be helped. So another douse, and then we shall get the backing off this one. And get it on. So we are a good centimetre short there. So slight change of plan from the other side. So the other side we tacked these 2 points on and went down there. So instead this time I'm going to tack this top section on here, and I'm going to do it all the way down there, this section here, and then I'm going to steam this, slip underneath, and then give it a gentle stretch to get this section just up to there. So you can see, hopefully the camera is picking that up. You can see the section there. I'll pick up the camera now and show you again. So that's how short we are. As you can see, that's a perfectly straight line the plotter's going through. So get this section tacked on, this section down here tacked, get all that on, and then a stretch all the way over, and it should work. Again, it's not a massive stretch over that full. So if I'm doing it from there to there, again, I can, I've got, it's actually Max's tape measure from a reading group. I don't know why a reading group would need a tape measure, but so this section, so that's 31 centimetres, and I need to stretch it about 2, so it's 1/15 of that which needs to be stretched, which shouldn't be any issue. The other thing it will do is, as I'm pulling it, this line here will then encroach over this. So when I'm trimming it, I'll need to hand trim that section. I didn't have to do that on the other side because it was all perfect. So as you're pulling, you're going to pull more of that material over, so it's going to come over the piano black. But again, that is not a problem at all. So I am going to make sure this is lined up again. It's not slid. It looks all good. Again, all good at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ISO, and I'm going to tack this section down. So the ISO washes out the soap. It's alcohol. So it washes it out very well. And then I'm just going to follow all the way along this section, and then go down. And I want to leave that there, so hopefully the camera can see all those bubbles. Yep, it can. So I'm going to lift this, and then I'm going to get some slip underneath. You can see that pressured water going right into that corner with the slip, or where the tack went on, isn't isn't causing any issues at all. That is down, that's nice and firm. So grab the trusty steamer. And I don't just want to do this section, I want to heat this full bit because it's all going to stretch as I say into this kernel black section. So I don't want any weird distortion in the film. Any fingers appearing, I want a nice even stretch the full way along. So the full bit of this film is all getting steamed. There we go, that is nice and hot. And again, I don't want to grab it and pull it, I want to pull it along. And there we go. And then I'm just going to keep my finger there and then get a tiny wee bit of slip. The reason why I put that there is just to lubricate the surface. And then a smaller squeegee, I think. Oh, I've just picked up my wee hook one. The only reason why that's pulling back on itself is because there's slip underneath it. Once I get all that out, then it'll be fine. So what I could even do is just finger on there and grab the tack, which again is just the alcohol. Wash out all that soap. Get that back in line. And then squeegee that full way along, and there we go. That's that bit on. Yep, there we go. All the way up to the end, which hopefully you can see in the camera. There's enough there to tuck, enough there to tuck, if it will tuck with the roughness. And then after that, we just wash out the edges. So we're just getting rid of the slip solution. It's a bit daft going from that side to that side because it flows down the way. So we'll do it the actual right way this time. So wash out all that soap. From under there. And from behind, yeah, any bits you can't get, you just hit it off your finger. And the hot water just runs down your hands, and there we go. That is that section on. One other piece of material saved, and zero impact in how it looks on the car. It's still full protection. It's not any distortion at all in any way. There's no stress, nothing like that. And yeah, there we go. So that next bit, we'll just leave them to dry, and then we'll get them all tucked. folks, that's this Z4 all finished, ready to be collected by the customer. Only thing that's still to do with it is just pop the centre caps on the wheels. The customer gets brand new ones that he's going to drop off when he collects the car. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Kind of long process with that one. The added issues of what happened when we were using the plotter. But the door section arrived, as did the back boot section. It was just an extra couple of metres of material. So templated the door just because it's got some kind of quite intricate cutouts just at the mirror. And the back boot section bulk fitted. Chris gave us a hand to get that section on. Just there was a kind of nice mighty stretch to get into the kind of swoop section round the back of the spoiler. But it's all done, looks absolutely epic. It's all been checked over and it's basically just ready to rock. Josh is currently deconing a Range Rover Velar, which is in with us for a ceramic package. So yeah, we're just straight on to the next car. But again, thank you very much for watching. Any questions, give us a wee shout. If anybody else would like some PPF put in their car, give us a shout, we'll give you a quote. There's some prices, kind of guide prices on the website. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cheerio, bye.